Hi guys, welcome back to MMA UK. I'm Jared Miller, and it's a pleasure to be joined today by Cage Warriors fighter and maybe, come May, Bantamweight champion Caolan Loughran. Caolan, how are we, mate?
Never better, brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for coming on today. And talking of Bantamweight, UFC Las Vegas at the weekend. Just first off, I wanted to get your thoughts on Jan versus Merab and how you thought the fight went.
Unbelievable fight. Unbelievable fight. Didn't see that coming, to be honest. Uh, was not a fan of Marab going into it at all. Was not a fan, especially when I watched them against Jose Aldo. I mean, I'm a Jose fanboy, but it was very much anti-fighting style. Not really trying to take you down, not trying to box wrestle, just really trying to hold you against the fence. But at the weekend, he was phenomenal. There's no two ways about it. His pace was outrageous. He's a stupid guy in person, but he's a fucking hard man to beat in the cage. No two ways about it. He Jan looked a bit washed, to be honest, but it looked like he broke Jan. Pewter's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, or has been for the last 5 or so years. I've studied him diligently. Took a lot of it from his pressure counter fighting style. But Marab deserves all respect in the world for that. His pace, every time Puber threw a hook, he level changed underneath him. I think he tried 50 odd takedowns, took his calf out in the feet, and he has a chin.
Yeah.
He's a crazy wee bastard, but he's a hard man to beat.
And you mentioned just there that you're a massive Petr Yan fan. That I'm interested then. Over his last kind of 4 or 5 fights, do you think he's maybe been done a bit of an injustice with some of the decisions, some of the stuff that's gone against him?
Obviously the legal knee, but I went back and watched it, and I actually thought the Aljamain Sterling fight he won. I thought it was 3-2 to Piotr with two clear Aljamain rounds, but neither enough to do it for a 10-8.
The first two
They
rounds,
were very
Claudio.
no. I thought the rounds 2 and 3 where he had his back. I thought the first one was close, but I think that's really what it comes down to. Because
Yeah,
I thought Piotr's the way he controlled it and was more damaging shots in the first round. Then Aljo had his back 2 and 3, took them clearly. I just didn't think there was enough for a 10-8. So it was very close, and you could see how Aljo won. But I honestly thought Piotr won. And then the O'Malley fight was, in my opinion, it was a fucking joke. I definitely thought Piotr won that one. Again, I like Sean. I like the way he puts himself out there. He's a funny guy. He knows how to make dough out of this game, pay out much. But I thought Piotr won, but he was beaten convincingly every round really at the weekend. Was a bit mad. I didn't expect that at all. Five
yeah.
0
No, me neither, mate. Me neither at all. And so one of the main reasons we're having you on today is because to preview your upcoming fight, you announced it last weekend. You're taking on Dylan Hazan for the Bantamweight Championship in Rome in May. How excited are you for that fight?
Fucking unbelievable, lad. Do you know what it is? The Cage Warriors title's amazing. It's been something I'm looking forward to, but it's the contest that gets me going. It's the guy's face. It's the his style, his attributes, and his 9-0 record. That's what they and his home crowd and everything that comes with it. I couldn't. It's Rocky Four in my eyes, lad. It's going into his hometown,
Yeah,
but obviously the Cage Warriors belt's big. But for me, it's very much beating him, knocking him out, beating him at his skills. But massive step up in competition, and as a martial artist and as a fighter, it's the competition and the faces and the skill sets that I want on my belt. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And you just mentioned it, pardon me. You've just mentioned it there. You're fighting in his kind of, back garden, his home crowd. How do you,
Yes.
as a fighter, as an athlete, combat that away crowd in that sort of environment?
I'm a mentality monster, lad. None of this shit's gonna phase me. And there are 1,500 doys mentally think that I'm gonna get phased by them booing me. They have another thing coming. And also I have like 50, 60 guys coming already, coming out of Ireland on
Right.
over here. Lad, 50 Irishmen, 50 Irish fight fans on the beer
They're all
against
ousting
50,
anybody.
1,500 Italians. I'll take the 50 Irishmen every day of the week. them boys sitting going like this. I don't give a fuck. I don't care a fucking shit about them. They can boo all they want, but no, lad, that's it'll take an awful lot more than a boo to just stop me from my dreams. I tell you that much.
Yeah, it's got shades of McGregor going over to fight Mayweather and stuff like that. He's in his bunny and stuff. But
That's
how's
coming.
yeah,
That's coming.
yeah. How's preparations for the fight been going so far? I know it's a bit short lived because you've only just announced it, but
Well, I've known him fighting for a while.
yeah,
I swear to God, that Colin Heron, he's just elite at what he does. I believe there's very few men alive could prepare me for fights better. His IQ, his understanding of the game, his understanding of styles, different styles of martial arts, and how to counter them, how to beat them, and how to get super fit, how to motivate, how to keep these sessions like motivating and fun. Unbelievable coach, unbelievable knowledge, and having the two Grundys, Jack and Mike, as sparring partners coming in fresh is literally the best. Literally the best you get. I actually think it's quite funny because like my style, I'm like a boxer wrestler, and I've been dominating cage wars pretty easily. And Dylan is out training with Ilya Taporia,
yeah,
who is phenomenal.
yeah.
And I was thinking, as a boxer wrestler, is maybe the best spar, at least in Europe, he could get for my style. And then I was thinking, well, say if I was in a different gym, I was back home training Ireland, I need a Greco freestyle wrestler body lock game. I would probably go to Mike Grundy.
Yeah.
That's me being 100% honest.
Yeah.
I would go to Mike Grundy for his style.
Yeah.
And I have him. So for like it's 10, 11 week camp with these guys preparing for Dylan, starting on Bob's and stuff. But for me, it's been a 4.5 year camp for Dylan style because my main training partner in Caolan's been Mike Grundy.
Yeah.
It's been rounds with him starting the single head here, 3, 2, 1, go out of these positions. And I Mike's obviously a much higher level wrestler. He achieved more in freestyle wrestling than him. He's a bigger man, stronger man, a more complete MMA game in terms of control and neck attack stuff, I guess, in my opinion. Achieved a lot more. So this has been like a 4.5 year camp. I respect Dylan's skills 100%. I believe he's the hardest fight I can get in the division. One of the toughest fights I could get in cage wars. But I think I'm gonna fucking smoke him. I swear to God, I think I'm gonna smoke him. I think 7, 8 tough minutes, high paced, and then I'm gonna take him out. I think.
So I think it's fair to say you're pretty confident with your training and all that as well coming into it. Because you're gonna have to help me out here. How do you say the gym's name? So I can never pronounce it. Is it Team Caoban? Caoban?
Team Cowbon. We're also joined now with 4 corners. The two gyms come together.
Right.
So it's like a super camp over here. Super camp. Anybody wants to come train, shoot me a DM. You will not regret it.
It sounds perfect, mate, with all the training partners you're talking about and the level of
Unbelievable.
mixed martial arts in the gym. So you train at Team Calvin. I know you've got a great relationship, as you've just mentioned, with your head coach as well, Colin Heron. What's life like in the gym on a day-to-day basis? What's the atmosphere like, and how does it push you on?
I'm not gonna lie to you, lad. Our gym isn't for everybody.
No.
There's a lot of Instagram fighters. There's a lot of boys who want to. I don't take my phone out there, record me doing this 27 punch combination. We'll rest for 2 minutes, but my Instagram looks good. That's not what our gym is, lad. It's for men who fucking are about it. Men who want to be at the pinnacle of MMA. If that's what you are, I couldn't advise you anymore to come to Team Cowboy. It's been the best decision of my life. Look at my amateur fights and look at how I'm performing in cage wars. I'm fucking going around giving men nookies. Literally tapping men's heads in the cage.
Yeah.
It's purely because of my application to the sport and then these level of coaching and training partners in there. There's no time wasted. There's good crack. Obviously, it's not a fucking prison, but like when you're on the mat, you're on the mat. After the good crack and the change room stuff got there, but when Colin sessions are on, there's no fucking about. There's no having a conversation. There's no going fucking about. Take a sip of water, do we rap? It's balls to the wall. Here to be the best in the world, or leave. some people just find a click, you know. Some people just find like this gym works for me, this gym doesn't work for me. So, but the way the sessions are over here just works for me, lad. It suits how I fight. It suits my dreams. It suits how I apply myself, my mentality, and I couldn't speak highly enough of the lad. It is the reason I'm gonna make this fucking animal, really, Dylan Hazan. It's the reason I believe I'm gonna knock him out and make it look quite easy, I think.
Do you think that that atmosphere that you talk about, do you think that works for every single fighter, or do you think it takes us, as you said, a certain breed to flourish in there?
Definitely not. No, a lot of guys don't stick it. A lot of guys leave. A lot of guys come and go. But you just look at the numbers, lad. Look at we've had 10 guys to the UFC from our gym.
Yeah.
The most recent ones have been Tom Aspinall's off the top of the UFC, Darren Till, Mike Grundy. They're the most recent breed. All three of them came from
Yeah.
MMA through the main event in the UFC. So I mean, you can this. You know, I mean, that speaks for itself. That's facts there. Like.
And talking to the other people in your gym, what are you and your team like with somebody like you who's coming up to a fight? Is it a very competitive atmosphere? Are you all quite relaxed about it? How does the mood kind of swing or change when a fight is actually coming up?
Well, the intensity definitely ups in the sessions. Like my training from I fought Shanks November 4th. From November, say 10th until Christmas, it was very much skill based. I was in the gi, he was slowing it down. Still was over January. Now it's quite specific to like body lock and trip takedown, starting in bad positions, getting out for Dylan. So the intensity, the way I prepare for 10, 11 weeks, I couldn't do 50 weeks of the year. My body would break down after one fight. 100%, it's insane. There's no two ways about it. It's fucking, the sessions are insane. Like the morning sessions are nuts. So you have to peak and be aware of injuries and recovery stuff like that. There's the training definitely dips and stuff. But in terms of emotion, that nothing really changed for me. I don't really hype these things up to be bigger than they are. Like I don't get nervous really for fighting because like I don't know. I love it. This I do it because I want to do it. It's not like I don't start getting nervous and it's just the same emotions it was the day after the last fight, the build up to this fight. I love it. You know what I mean? I love to compete. I love to fight. I love the bright lights in MMA.
Yeah. Well, as you say as well, looking back towards the fight, the not the title shot, but the fight between the two of you, you and Hazan, has come about because Martin Yoni has relinquished the belt and has gone down to flyweight to fight there. I've seen some
Yeah.
work you've shared about the subject on Instagram, but I want to get your thoughts on camera on Martin Yoni as a bloke and as a fighter.
As a bloke, he's an arrogant twerp. He's a wee fucking wanker. That's God's honest truth. He's a wee bellend. The way he thinks he's a celebrity now because he won like Cage Warriors title. It's a fucking joke. But honestly, I'm sitting here right now. What 7 weeks is this? 7 weeks this Saturday, is it? I'm about 76 and a half kilos.
Hmm.
Set for a bantamweight fight. I would guess Martin Ewing to is about 68 kilos. Me and him are not the same size of man. There's no, you can, I said this when I was fighting Shanks, I said, I'm beating a fat flyweight and I'm going to beat a wee skinny flyweight to win a bantamweight title. I said he was a flyweight. Being honest, did I think he would want to fight me from him not replying to me? Honestly, it kind of seemed that way. But for his career, I think it is wise to move to flyweight because I think he is a flyweight and I think he'd better chance of furthering his career in the flyweight division. Like me and him are not the same size. I'm too happy for him.
Yeah. Is Hazan a tougher fight, do you think?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. His wrestling accolades speak for themselves. He's trained a long time. He's come in and ragdolled everyone who's come near him in MMA. 9-0. Made the division look. No, I don't think he hasn't been as dominant as me. I've been putting guys away, but he's been his style's more based around decision, based around control, up down, up down, up down, similar like a Kobe Covington. So I'm very very excited to compete against that. But what I think he's lacking is in an all round MMA game. His wrestling's been so good so far that like at lower levels and like regional levels, it'll get you through it. But when you step up, and I believe fight someone like me, your MMA game has to be tight because I'm going to take you into a deep ocean and drown you if it's not in a certain area. And I see that's how the fight's going. I do believe it's a very tough fight. A mid-level UFC fight. I've said this from the moment I've got it. I know he'd go into the UFC and win right now at the bottom levels. I've no doubt in my mind with his wrestling skill. But you drew the short straw, kid. You're the man. Stand to me in my dreams. I'm gonna fucking body.
Well, you just said there you take people into deep waters, and it's obvious you do. You've had 3 Cage Warriors fights, all all won, all by finish.
Yeah.
Is there any, chance in hell you see us going the full distance?
Nah, not a chance. Not a chance. He comes out too wild. He's too hyped up. So either he puts me away early, or he dips, and
Yeah.
I'll come into my own and I'll get him. But I would. I'm not here for decision wins. Not at this level. Not here for scraps either. Absolutely no chance.
And looking back at your Cage Warriors career so far, those 3 wins, what do you think your favourite fight is out of the 3 of them, or your best performance?
What like for me as like fighting in the Odyssey Arena in Belfast was special. That's been a goal from when I was a very young lad, and to do that was fun. But like it was everything I imagined and more. Not that the O2 wasn't the Indigo, that was amazing, but the O2 or the uh, the Odyssey was just special for me because it was close to home, close to where I'm from. Uh, because of the what Shanks has done is probably my best performance because he was obviously a Cage Warriors champion. He was the number one ranked in UK and Ireland. Rocked him twice on the feet, then took him down, controlled him, and finished him on the ground. So it was pretty dominant. So you'd have to say that just because of what he's achieved so far in Cage Warriors, you'd have to probably say that was the best performance until this one.
Until this one, definitely. That's the mindset you want. And
Yeah.
I was interested. I have to ask this for quite a lot of people I interview, but when did your journey start in MMA?
Uh, well, in martial arts, I was in boxing young.
Yeah,
I was on the side of Gaelic football, but MMA was about 16. I was playing, Gaelic football in Ireland.
yeah.
Started getting some shitty injuries, and in my time rehab, going down to the local MMA gym. At 16, I just started training pretty much full time, going fucking nuts with. I'm 26 now, so 10 years in MMA.
Was it something you got addicted to straight away as soon as you went into the gym?
Literally one session.
Really?
Literally one session, never look back. Actually, it seems to happen to everybody. Everyone, it's quite common.
Yeah, yeah. And you also mentioned as well, you've got the UFC in your sights. Most Cage Warriors fighters do. Um, after you after this next fight, if you win the belt, do you have that UFC debut, that UFC entrance already in your mind, or is that something you think you might have to wait a little bit for after this fight?
I think the UFC are going to come and contact me off this one. If I'm being honest, but Dylan's 9-0, and if I've said I think everyone in the division's a step back in terms of class, and I don't want to take step backs in my career.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to get a contender series offer.
Mm.
I think I'm built for the contender series. I'll say I'm all but one finishes. It's live on ESPN. I think you can start to build yourself on. If you look at the guys coming up in my own division, you got the hype O'Malley contender series, Adrian Yanez contender series, that dopey fucker Rosas contender series. They put out these like we cool like fucking like video vlog stuff, build you up. It's live on ESPN, and a lot of guys go straight into pay per views from them. I know you become some people call me like some people like contractually, it's a wee bit worse off. But I think after a few fights, the way I talk about myself, the way I perform, I think that UFC probably going to pop me a new contract. And I need to talk it over with Colin Heron, but I believe the contender series at least will come next, and I would do that tomorrow, 100%. Hit Vegas, live on Fight Pass, live on ESPN, do that. They sent for a UFC contract, 100%. I'd do that, and then I say it every interview I'm doing because I am putting it out there. I want to be on the McGregor Chandler undercard. I'll open the fucking prelims, lad. No problem. No problem. That just sounds like That sounds like the right thing to do for me.
Yeah, it's a level that everybody wants to aspire to, and I think because that you have got the whole year to do that, it is it's also a very realistic expectation as well, isn't it?
One
And
hundred percent, mate. I just think that like you're gonna have Ian on that. Why not sign Paul Hughes? When I'm a Cage World Champion, sign me, and let's get this whole thing going again. Let's take over the game again. Let's do it. I believe it's the way to go, and
yeah,
we'll get the whole of Ireland hopping on MMA again. I think.
yeah. Cage Warriors is in Ireland a lot more, a lot much more of the time than in something like the UFC. It happens in Ireland a lot more. Is that something that maybe you want to get done before you go to the UFC, or before if you get into the UFC, you want to perform
Uh,
with a home crowd?
Not now, no, because there's obviously the April 29th one
Yeah,
that is a week before me that
yeah,
I was offered a fight on, but I said I could have fought on it for no title or go to Rome. And then it was Martin Uni last December. I was offered that.
yeah,
Martin Uni in Rome or fighting home time for me. I'm thinking about my career. So I went for the title fight, obviously. I know they're coming back to the Tree Arena in the end of the year, December, but I have no intention of still being in Cage Wars at that time. I want to fight in the UFC by December. So would have been really nice, lad. Got to do the Odyssey, but fuck it, we'll go for UFC Dublin instead.
yeah. Definitely, that's something that I think all Irish fighters want, isn't it? That next card in Dublin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Looking back to when we said about how you started your MMA journey, you had a very successful amateur career where you won all of your fights, six of them by KO as well. How did you find the step between amateur and professional level? Was there a big difference, or was it less than what you actually thought it would be like?
Well, I'd been training as a pro before I went pro, but to be honest, lad, I was fighting the best amateurs in the UK and Ireland when I could. I fought anybody could take. I fought all undefeated guys, stuff like this.
Yeah,
And then when I turned pro, I was fighting on the regional scene and found it very, very, very hard to get matched here in the UK. Pull outs, last minute things. So I ended up fighting fucking Ray Straight in my pro debut. And that called Kearns at last moment. So until really COVID, I hadn't really fought the highest levels of pros as I had amateur. And because I'm a training team cowbomb and that kind of absence took away from the cage, and then with COVID as well, my skill set went so high, so quick through in under Colin and Mike and these guys that by the time I came back and signed with Cage Wars, I felt that I was going to go into this. I knew I was going to come into this division and do what I have done. I knew my skill set was higher. I knew I'd trained with a lot of Cage Wars champions, some big names in Bellator come into our gym over COVID, some big UK MMA names, we'll leave it at that. And I was leaving it with just knowing that if we get once I get this contract, I'm ready. So I never really felt the jump because say I went from the highest level amateurs to fighting crappy pros until I was at a level where I thought I was above Cage Warriors anyway. So I don't know if that's to answer your question, but that's kind of how I felt it. I just think that fight careers are Floyd Mayweather. You say the same. It's about timing. That's one thing Colin Heron also gets. He's been in the fight business a long time, but almost pulling you back and taking the right fights, and it's all about timing. And I feel the time I've come to Cage Wars was the right time in my pro career. That I feel like I was already levels above Cage Wars, so now I can jump through them. You know what I mean?
even higher. Yeah. And earlier today, I spoke to Takamandu, another Cage Warriors Irish fighter. He's probably a few years behind you. He's having his debut fight in April on that Dublin card. And we talked about how we see the Irish MMA scene at the minute. I was interested as well, coming from somebody from Ireland too. How do you see the Irish mixed martial arts scene at the minute compared to Europe and the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think everyone in Ireland's getting a wee bit ahead of himself when I see all this Irish MMA is booming, Irish MMA is booming. I don't think you can quite say that so much. Like I think they all need to slow down. We've literally got one active guy in the top promotion at the moment.
Mm.
Conor McGregor's coming back, but Ian's the only guy doing it in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, our Irish MMA is on the cusp of big things. You've got like Paul, you've got Reese, the Cage Warriors champion. I believe I'm about to become a Cage Warriors champion. You've got like women fighting for big titles and stuff like this. And the Bellator scenes are obviously big. And there's obviously a lot of shows coming to the arena. But like to say Irish MMA is booming with one guy winning the UFC, and let's be honest, Ian's getting the Paddy Pimblett treatment. He's getting good matchups in the UFC. Like I think, say maybe Georgian MMA. Georgian MMA have population like 1.5 million people, where Ireland have like I don't know how many people. Like they've got what 8 guys in the UFC, guys like Ilia Topuria, Kutaladze. These guys are flying. Chika Chikadze. These guys are flying.
Marab as well, yeah.
Marab, obviously, we're talking about earlier. I mean that. I think Irish guys need to slow down. I think we're on the cusp of big things, but we're just not there yet. But definitely all head in the right direction. A lot of guys are winning big fights and big titles, and I believe on May 6th that'll be the next one. You know what I mean?
Definitely, mate, 100%. It's nice to hear somebody with that confidence as well going into a title belt. And
Yeah, man.
finally, I asked this of everybody who comes on the show. How do you see the future for Caolan Loughran looking? And are there any plans, any goals you've got in the near future?
This year I'm going to win the gold and I'm going to sign with the UFC. That's huge for me. That's huge. That was laughed at in 2013, 10 years ago. I'd said people asked my goal. My Twitter pinned tweet is 2013. I'm going to achieve what I dreamt of in 2023. I'm going to achieve what I dreamt of in 2013.
Yeah.
I'm going to win the Cage Wars gold and I'm going to sign with the UFC. As close as fucking 2 years ago, people were laughing at me when I said that. Who the fuck's laughing now? So I'm not looking anyway past that. That's humongous goals. That's huge. No throw man's ever done anything like that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this belt May 6th. I'm gonna look good doing it. I'm gonna fight in around midsummer. If that has to be a Cage Wars title defense, which I don't think it will, no problem. I think that could be a contender series fight, and then I believe I'm gonna fight in the UFC at the end of the year. Big year, big fucking year.